Good morning, friends. Happy Saturday hangout. Let me know if you want to hop up on stage and chill. We've got a ton of things to talk about today. Whatever we want, but what happened last week? Oh my gosh. There was the chapter 4 Gotchi Bible. There was the news about the social release coming up after the play drop, immediately to be followed by the land release. Oh yeah, we did this thing called rarity farming, and we concluded the entire season and already distributed the ghost rewards for that. Badges and trophies are next. And then I think a golden tile came out at the front of the week. And curious to see how many of us here are playing the tile game, angling on that. And then there was, oh yeah, the Opera browser. They're now supporting Gotchiverse, which makes iPad experiences with the Gotchiverse better. And I think Alchemica, all 4 tokens got whitelisted on QuickSwap. So, holy crap, that just scratches the surface, friends. But Hefe, I'm probably forgetting a bunch of stuff. How was your week, I guess, is how we could say this.
It was incredible. It was an incredible week, like with all the stuff that you had going on there, from Pixelcraft, and then with us we did a little special on 420, and that was kind of fun too. But
Yeah,
now, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I was like so busy. I was trying to follow up on April 20th. I understand it was with you and No Futurist,
Yeah, yeah, and then we had an NFT that we did with No Future did some
right? And I listened to No Futurist app.
Hey
yeah.
guys,
Hey, good morning.
it was a, a mad rush to wake up and get everything turned on and streaming, but we're here.
Very cool. Very cool. We're just chilling, talking about what a week it was in so many ways. I mean, kind of runs the gamut from, yeah, just pixelcraft stuff and the DAO. The DAO's been very busy. And then what you guys did and the very unique NFT you guys put out for a very special date, I guess. April 20th. I don't get it.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a lot of fun. It was also cool to do it at the same time as the Golden Tiles going live. So we've talked about that a lot because we're plotting strategy for these installations so that we can get them on our parcels before the land release.
Yeah, that's perfect. The flow on that, it was a music NFT, which I think music NFTs are going to blow up, by the way. It's inevitable. But that was a really, really cool flow you had on that.
Yeah, it's a fun little piece. I love the art that Bin Laden did for it. It's representative for what the occasion for the NFT, like the date and whatnot.
Very, very cool. And was it successful in the sense that what was was there like a cap and they sold out, or you could mint them as anybody who showed up that day could mint? I missed a lot of that. I was just swamped.
Yes. So we kept it pretty simple. We basically said if you send 4.20 Ghost to our treasury, we will basically mint one of these for every 4.2 Ghost or 10 USD that you send. And so that made the process a little bit manual, but it was quite easy to just look through the whole list and then allocate NFTs for everybody. And we made the NFT fairly reasonably priced so that we could get it out to as many people as we could. And I think we have roughly 117 unique holders of this NFT. So that's good. That means a lot of people were able to get their hands on one. And in the end, I think we sold almost 800 of these NFTs. So it did quite well, and it just shows the support in the Gotcha Gang community.
That's excellent. And it was minted through the OpenSea minter, right? Or am I wrong on that?
No, so it was actually minted through, like, our own contract that we had help with, and we minted through that, and so it's its own collection on OpenSea. I don't think it's attached to
Just a
the OpenSea collection.
very, very
Yeah,
cool.
which is actually really cool because we now have a smart contract that we can use to deploy future NFT drops, which will be huge for us. So next step, I guess, is to create a front end for this the contract and just start doing more stuff. It's cool because it's like I could see GMI starting to innovate and grow, so it's very exciting.
Right, right. Through the guild itself, like the NFTs are the glue of the culture, right? When you have something you guys can all share in whether it's a DAO or a guild or whatever it may be, a company. So super cool. You're gonna have to get me in the studio with you sometime. I played that like 10 times yesterday. I was like, damn, he's flowing on that. I gotta hear that one.
Thanks.
So
Yeah, we'll
very
definitely we're gonna cross paths. I feel like you're eventually me and you are gonna be at a conference together, or you'll end up passing through it in Nashville. So we'll definitely make it happen.
Yeah, I think I don't know which will happen first. I want to go through Nashville again. Last time was super brief, and I tried to find a way to meet you there, but it didn't happen. But New York, that's probably a good thing to talk about here. We're starting to see Gravy's looking into whether or not we can get an official side event going at the New York conference, NFT NYC in June. So we'll have to all collaborate. If anybody has any leads on a great venue for a party, I figure you used to live there, No Futuristic, so maybe you might know a spot or two that could be a good candidate. But
Yeah,
yeah,
me and Gravy have talked about it a little, because he was asking me yesterday, or not yesterday, a few days ago, about Blockchain Center, where their event was. NFT NYC last year was all in Times Square, so it was all in the one, like, the main hub of Manhattan, sort of, where Blockchain Center was like at 86th Street, which is a good 2 miles, further uptown, which doesn't sound like a lot, but in New York, that means you have to like gather all these people to get on a subway and go like 4 or 5 stops. So I was telling them probably not the best look. But if you try to get anything in Times Square, you're going to be paying crazy amounts of money. So I was saying to him, maybe you guys should reach out to the NFT NYC organizers, because last year they had, I forgot what the name of the restaurant was, but they rented out a restaurant basically for the whole time that we were there. And that was like their event center, like where the people who are there, if you didn't have anything to do, you can just go chill at this bar restaurant with other NFT people. But it was a big space, so you might be able to rent that out, or maybe a hotel conference room. Anything else, it might be better just to rent a bar or restaurant, because it's going to be really expensive if you do it in Times Square.
yep, that sounds pretty good. Yeah, last time I was in New York, there was a crypto conference, Consensus, in Manhattan, and there was like a ETH dedicated, like not like a ETH Denver type vibe, something like that, similar. But it was a little side event, and it was in Brooklyn, and I was like, oh, this will be easy. And I ended up missing the conference. It took me like forever, like 2 hours of traffic, and then trying to figure out the subway system. And I was like, holy cow, missed the whole thing. So
Yeah,
have to,
that will happen.
yeah, we'll just stay close to Times Square. But
Yeah, like when I moved, I lived in the Bronx for like 35 years, and then the last year I was in New York, I was in Manhattan. But once I moved to Manhattan, I was like, I'm never leaving this borough again. Like I've become too I like too bougie for this. I'm not going back to the Bronx. It's not happening. So I probably have not been back to the Bronx or Brooklyn in over 2 years. So I also
yeah,
haven't been back to New York, but whatever.
yeah. Well, yeah, put the bat signal out. We're probably doing something for NFT NYC. I've got a speaking spot on day 2. I think it's a 3-day event, right? So we'll definitely be present, and it's just a matter of we've actually got some lead time here to figure out, yeah, renting out a bar. I don't really want to do the hotel conference room thing. That's kind of, I mean, we could, but I feel like most people that go there, they're gonna want to have a good time. If we get some drinks and we have a PA system with a microphone or something, then that's enough. So we'll see what we can do. We're on the trail.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Like, I'm looking forward to it. I know, I was talking with Gravy about like potentially getting me and Aavegotchi out there to potentially shoot a documentary, because I can bring out my cinema camera and streaming equipment because it's very portable, and he can bring out his regular, video equipment. So it'd be kind of cool to be able to do something like that.
Could be some sick content.
Yeah.
Hefe, going off what we were talking about there, man, like we were running through this list, chapter 4, social release, land release, rarity farming concluding. One thing I've got to track down real quick on that is it looks like we have a tie for first place in the XP category. I did not realize that when we were doing the event live, but I looked back and there's a showdown between Maniac and XP number one. They each won 2 rounds. So
Oh,
I expect like the original DAO rules and stuff for season 3 to see what the breakers were. That's gonna be pretty epic. Those two are down to the wire.
yeah, my Gotchis did quite well for rarity farming this time around. I mean, I upgraded some of my wearables. I've got a lot more XP since the last time around, and I also think, as people were getting sorted out there with the Gotchi lending, maybe some people might have missed a decent amount of pets. So I was able to just keep up with my petting in that time. I wasn't renting them out as much as I should have, but I was able to keep on top of the petting, and I think I came out ahead with some kinship as well.
Gaining some ground on the leaderboard.
Yeah, I think so.
No, that's pretty good. Yeah, it was a good. There was no rookie season. Just made it like straight up competition. I think that was good. So really, and it's close. Like this XP one, I'm like wondering now, like shoot, who actually won? So we've got to figure that out. Let's see what Chonya says here. I made the rookie error of not being able to redress my gotchis as they were rented out. Oh yeah, yeah. As you head into rarity farming, there's definitely some spinning multiple plate things to consider there. So sounds like Chonya had some stronger wearables to equip, but could not do it as the snapshot approached.
Yeah, that kind of happened to me because I keep losing track of rentals, and I wasn't able to equip all of my wearables, and like my main Gotchi, who I think he's top 350 now in terms of BRS. I didn't realize I got all that XP from that drop that we did a couple days ago. That he had a point available, so I could have moved like 1 point higher on the BRS, which probably would have moved me a few spots. But I didn't realize it. So I added the point today. Now the guy is natively a 556 Gotchi. And then I think with wearables, he's at like 638. So it's kind of cool.
Nice, nice. Yeah, yeah. The points. You earn this XP, and then you realize, oh my gosh, I could have done more.
Well, I'll be honest. Like after you guys dropped the fourth Bible chapter, we did a live reading where with Gravy and Yankong, and just thinking about the multiplier for kinship, and it's like, oh God, I'm so happy I pet like so consistently these gotchis because like starting out, like at least two or three of them are going to have at least a 3x multiplier on their channeling, and if you look at the numbers for channeling, the base, it's like, oh, that's not bad. Like that's like 6 or 7 per day per gotchi. That's over 500 or 600 kinship. So it's like, oh, this is pretty good. Like keeping up with these pets has paid off definitely.
I think kinship's going to play a bigger role too as the Gotchiverse, rolls out, especially with these multipliers and how they're going to stack up. I played. There's a game that was kind of like an MMO RPG
Save it for
farming.
season.
Oh, sorry there. I didn't realize you were going.
Oh, Hefe, I think we just got our wires crossed. Go ahead. Continue with the point you were making.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say I think kinship's gonna play a bigger role as the Gotchiverse like expands, and having these little advantages from the start with the multiplier, it really does compound like later on in the game because you got such a head start so early on. I think that's something that people realize like maybe a month or two in after we launch like the full thing.
Yeah, I'm interested to see the market effect because like I have like there's been times I've tried to sell gotchis, like put up I have 22 of them. I put one up for sale. I put it at the floor for H1. This thing has like 400 XP, has like 300 kinship, and no one would buy it at the floor. And I was like, I can't wait for the day where people like once kinship is fully like actualized in the game, more so than just being BRS driven. or rather rarity farming driven, that the value of these gotchis will be like truly expressed in our marketplace. So I'm looking forward to that because like, if you put in like I think I'm over a year now that I've owned my gotchi, definitely over a year. And I've been hand petting three of them, all of them, but three of them for almost a year. So it's like it's some time and effort. So I want to see, I can't wait to see that actually like materialize in value in the market because it is there. We can see the value of high kinship gotchis, but it only tends to be skewed towards rarity farming. But once we have that multiplier, then like for rentals, that's going to change the whole market because now, I can lend you my gotchi up, for upfront ghost because it's just like every other gotchi. But when it matters, and I can show you, hey, this gotchi has 600, kinship, or 700, whatever it's at, people will be more likely to rent it. So our rental market will mature more as these like features come into the game, which makes me very excited.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. It's awesome. GM, everyone. GM.
How's it
GM.
going down under?
Yeah, down under's good.
Yeah, that's
It's
right.
always late here, but yeah, I loved reading the Bible this week. That's just we're just so close to the game actually, unleashing on us, and yeah, I just cannot wait. Just so stoked.
Is there any specific part of the Bible that really jumped out to you? Like, what was something that that got you more hype than you were expecting?
One little thing was is it the maker bots or whatever they're called? Yeah, that just started getting my brain thinking on the like the Clash of Clan huts or whatever they were. I think that was it the huts in Clash of Clans. Yeah, I think off the top of my head. So yeah, that's just starting to really get me, scaling it up and having multiple spacious different areas and being able to teleport around and just the whole experience of it. Not just one or two little things, but it's just this 30-year game is I just cannot wait. This is going to be super pumped.
Yeah, we have a long road ahead of us, and we're just like very much at the beginning of it. So it's super exciting.
I see Tommy in the comments. He's pumped about the large estate benefits. I think that's another good area. The estate section was like 7 pages. There's a lot to go over. So yeah, I love the makers of Crypto Godfather. I agree. Like those were something that took a while to develop. I mean, for sure, obviously, but like the game balancing there was quite an effort there that Neon Kong and Coder Dan led.
I actually have a question about the estates. I was looking at some of the rules for building estates, and one of the ones benefits of creating an estate. And the first one that really jumped out at me was visibility, where it says visibility, everyone can see the links. What by that, do you guys mean like on the map you'll be able to see linked parcels? Because I think that'd be really cool for visibility.
Sorry, I just spilled my coffee. What was it?
I'm talking about the estate rules and how you guys mentioned that estates will be visible, like linked estates. Well, what exactly do you guys mean by that in terms of like visibility, like players walking by or like on the map?
Yeah, I think it's actually both. I think Coder Dan could speak to a little bit more on that. That really was the estates were him and Neon Kong working that out. I had very little to do with it, but I do know that in the conversations I sat in on and contributed to was more about like being visible. Visibility is basically like a value add for anything you're doing, right? So you want to be able to be as seen as possible. There's a value at that, especially if you're building your own NPCs or hosting events. So I think it's going to be both links and prioritization of basically making it easy to get people to your parcel, to your estate.
That's awesome because I'm thinking about, out of all my parcels I have now, I have to kind of think of where I'm going to be establishing home base. No Future and I, we were talking about this last time on how, if you have multiple parcels, it's probably a good idea right now to start thinking about and start being strategic about how and like where you want to set up your first parcel and then build out from there. So, yeah, I got two humbles that are side by side in District 2. One of them has a boost, so it's already kind of a little bit unique, like in terms of being identifiable. And I think I'm gonna link them together so that it becomes even more like it stands out even more. And it'll kind of be like the equivalent of like when you arrive to your homestead and you have to till the land and start building. You have to set up your initial homestead. You gotta set up the little hut or the little trailer and build out from there, right? So that's kind of what I'm thinking.
That's actually a really good point, man, about the where do we start? Like, I don't know if you guys went as crazy as me on land. Not, I didn't go too insane, but I've got a few bits here and there, and I'm just like, hold on, do I want to really develop that one first, or that one, or or how many will I go? Will I go all the spacious first, and then go the reasonable, then humbles, and yeah. And the other thought I had was, like if you've got a few sort of close to each other, suddenly the ones in between become so much more valuable only to you. And and what's the chance of being able to negotiate with someone to sell or swap one, or you can have one of the ones on my edge, if I get the one in the middle, or things like that. Could be some quite interesting things going on.
Yeah, like we were talking about this yesterday on District 420. Like, this is going to open up a new strategy in the game, and it kind of puts pressure because, like, I have 50 parcels. They're all over the place. I've just basically bought whatever parcels I can find, with the exception of a couple of District 1 humbles, which I plan on opening when we launch the land release. But, like, think about it. It's like I have to, if I really want to start building a state, I have to start strategically looking for the parcels that I want to potentially group together and then find parcels nearby, because they're never going to be cheaper than they are right now. Like, I feel confident in saying that, like, in the future, it's going to be a lot harder for me to find the parcels that, like you said, are valuable to me because they might be adjacent to my parcels. So it's like I have to start thinking of that more so now, because if not, then the opportunity cost of not taking advantage of getting those parcels now will be huge in the future when I'm trying to actually get, like an estate. Because, like, these estates kind of, like, I have 22 gotchis, right? And with the whole announcement of the estates, it kind of made me think, it's like, wait a minute, I might be my own guild without even realizing it. Like, I'm just a guild of one person, a very decentralized guild, because I just do upfront ghost rentals, so I don't know any of my scholars. And there's, like, we did the math yesterday, it's like over 508, I think it was 528 unique interactions if I get all 22 of my gotchis rented out 1 hour each, 24 hours a day. So because I'm not using scholars that I'm, like, normally using, like, through whitelist, they just go up and people rent it. So technically, as a guild, if I was a guild, I'm super decentralized because I constantly have new players coming in and playing my gotchis. So it's like, it had me thinking of all these, like, bigger brain, like, higher level stuff. Like, oh, I need to really organize and start looking for land that's going to fit, because I guess I am building my own guild, in a way.
Yeah, a guild of one, but
Yeah.
many gotchis, one master. No futuristic.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
It is, and it's like the guilds can take many shapes and sizes. Like, there's the guilds in the truest sense, like, they like a YGG or Blackpool. But then there's people like you that just have a lot of gotchis, and it's like, is that a guild? And so I think one distinction that Chapter 4 kind of makes clear is the lodge installation, like, is kind of your heartbeat of a guild, but it's not equal to, like, anybody could have a lodge. You could just be like a dude with one gotchi and you could still have a lodge. And that enables you to start linking parcels and hosting events inside the lodge eventually. Like, there'll be other utility for it. But yeah, you might need a couple different lodges on a few different little estates. And maybe they're all part of if you ever decided to make a whitelist and make a quasi guild, you have all the ingredients, sir.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool because it does allow me to, like, really set up things and just kind of operate on my own. Once we have the batch lending and lending operator functionality, that'll be very helpful because then I can just automate all this. But like, I'm also very, very excited. Me and Happy talked about this a little bit yesterday, but like the chat social, the Gotchi gang hangout kind of mode of the alpha launch, and just thinking of those chats, the district versus the Citadel chat, and how I feel like, I'm very impressed because I didn't expect chat functionality for a while. I didn't, I thought we were going minimum viable game, so I figured chat was like, gonna lay on the wayside for a while. But you guys are bringing it out so much quicker. So now I'm starting to think like, as our metaverse becomes more social, I start to question: do we need Discord anymore? If we can have a Citadel chat, we won't have all the servers, obviously, but like we're eventually once this chat moves into the lodge and we have voice capabilities, then it's like, all right, Discord's cool, but we don't really need it. We kind of have our own thing, and that's really impressive to me.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I think longer term it does go is, a metaverse has to be equal parts social, equal parts gamified. And so this is definitely the first iteration, though. I mean, even amongst the team, like there's so many different iterations. We're like, what do we go with first as far as a minimal viable chat function? And really like the idea of having a district chat and a quick, easy way to switch to kind of global troll box mode. And we'll see where it goes from here, but it'll either be a great experience or it won't be. We'll find out pretty quick and then adjust accordingly and improve on it. But Discord's pretty sweet. I don't know if we're going to get to a point where we can completely get off that. I'll give you an example. I went to the WIP meetup in CryptoVoxels this week. Always good alpha there. See what they're doing over there. And first of all, credit to the builders over there. They've done a ton of upgrades in the last 6 months. So it's been a while since I was over there. And they've got kind of like a little chat box you click, and it gives you the option for voice chat. It gives you emojis, kind of like what we've got, and then it's got text chat. But the meetup was so big that they still send everybody to Discord to do what we're doing right now, and they just have another window open. So it's like there must be some bandwidth limits to the voice chat inside CryptoVoxels, regardless. But yeah, I think our text chat it's already looking a bit more fun. Right now the big debate is if we can keep the PFPs inside the chat. It really emphasizes your Gotchi. If you're speaking up, your Gotchi gets to kind of talk in the world. I think that's important. But there's a lot of concern about most online games they keep it very minimal, it's just like one line things. There's no logos, there's no PFPs, because you have very little screen real estate. And so we'll adjust accordingly. We'll see how it goes. But the concern is like you just won't be able to keep up with the conversation without sacrificing half your screen. So we'll see how it goes. If you guys have ideas on that, that's why we said it's very iterative, very experimental. We want to kind of build the right chat mode with you guys.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I think like other games I've played, it's almost like the chat box is shrinkable, so it's like you can really minimize it down to a couple lines of chat scrolling through to, making it expand out so you can see multiple lines, like a large portion of the chat. So I think maybe over time that might be something that might help if it does become an issue, like for people with smaller screens especially. Maybe they're able to kind of really minimize that down so it's not really taking up a whole lot, but they can still see a little bit of the chat.
Yeah, we're debating. I think it's going to launch with either close it all the way, minimize it completely, or open it up to something similar to the version we are working on and shared in the blog. But then there's also discussion of, let's say you're just chilling on your parcel and the conversation's getting good. You may want to just like expand that from top to bottom and take up, occasionally do that. It's like a third way, basically.
I was going to suggest, I don't know how difficult this would be because it made me think of Adobe Premiere, where when I'm editing, there's ways that if I have multiple screens, I can move one of those screens, like say the program screen, to another monitor. So it would be really cool if you could have like the chat box be something that is a pop out so that I can move it to another screen and have a full screen of just chat while I'm playing the game. So it doesn't really affect the gameplay. I'm sure that's probably annoying to do like as a dev, but it's just a wish list item for me.
That would be a very cool third way. That's pretty cool. I like that. Noted. Thank you. No. Yeah, I think
Yeah, the chat's gonna be fun. We were talking about it yesterday. Like, I'm excited to see because, like, it's a video game, and we're dealing with a lot of degens. So, like, there's gonna be somebody I could see it that's like running from district to district, just causing mayhem in the district chats, like just crossing a district, talking, doing crazy stuff, saying crazy stuff, and then like all of a sudden, as quickly as they're in, they're out because they've walked to another district. So it's like it'll be interesting to see the social, because it's almost like a social experiment, like seeing the wave of interactions between people, both in the Citadel and district chat, since we'll be able to like kind of monitor both. Also, if you could make it so that we could see both chats, like if you do that pop out window, I would love to be able to monitor both the Citadel and district chat at the same time.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Wow.
Now that's making me think I got to change all my Gotchi's names though, because I'm doing all these rentals and I can't be having people talking trash with my main Gotchi in like a district chat because that's going to reflect poorly on me.
Yeah, Transistor just asked what would be displayed. Currently, the idea is the Gotchi name, so it's like the Gotchis chatting. There's also the option where if your Gotchi's being lent out or borrowed, it can't enter the chat. We could limit it to just non-lended Gotchis have the chat mode, are able to contribute to the chat. So there's a sense of actually some reputation there. Otherwise, it might get kind of ridiculous in the chat in like a unhealthy, unenjoyable kind of way. We'll have to see, but that would be at least one filter we could put on is be like, all right, if you're just you're in here, play to earn, scholar mode, borrowing a Gotchi, maybe if you really like to chat and be social, you should consider buying yourself your own Aavegotchi or earning yourself your own Aavegotchi. So we'll have to see.
Could
But I like
the
ideas.
could the rental name be linked somehow to like a whitelist or something? Like there's a rental name, kind of like it maybe it supersedes like your actual Gotchi's name. If it's being lent out, then it just shows the rental name for that group of Gotchis. Like, for me it'd be like Hefe's Gotchis, or I can name it whatever I want. It doesn't have to be Hefe's Gotchis, but those Gotchis as a group would just kind of show the generic name for those Gotchis being rented out for that whitelist.
Possibly, yeah. That's another way. I don't know if it solves. At least you'd know like where it came from. You'd be like, somebody borrowed your Gotchi, and yeah, maybe if it's a whitelisted, not a global lending, that's another layer. It's a little bit better.
Well, I would
You
say
know,
you
like,
could also add the little, like, you guys have that little, I guess it's a spinning icon for when a Gotchi's lent out. Like, I'm looking at the My Gotchi's page. So maybe next to the name, you just have that icon so it's clear, like, oh, this isn't no futuristic. Someone's rented it.
that would be cool.
Will we be able in this chat, are we going to be able to reply or like mention, like tag people? And then I guess my second question is Penske asked it above, and he was asking or suggesting that we have a block feature. Where was it? You just said it. Please have easy block function from the start. Do we think that that's going to happen? Do you see that as part of like the roadmap for the chat functionality from the team, that those kind of finer refinements to the chat?
Yeah, I think it's up near the top of the to-do list. I don't know if it'll be there on May 2, but it's definitely something where you have to have some curation if there's somebody that's just like harassing or just not contributing and taking up your space. You should be able to like mute it so it just doesn't even show up. That's definitely something that should happen.
Yeah, that makes sense. So then May 2nd is the launch of the chat functionality, that next phase. But May 7th will be the actual first party, the hangout where we're all going to jump into Discord and be in the Gotchiverse and having an Alchemica party, correct?
Yeah. So that comes up to basically, is that a week from today? Oh my gosh. 2 weeks from today.
2 weeks from today, yes.
Scared me. Yeah, that'll be awesome. Still in the planning mode, so if you guys have feature requests for the party, maybe we can make room for it.
Will the party be an XP event?
Yeah, probably. I think it's going to be XP, Alchemica, all that good stuff. Make it rain.
Yeah,
I wonder if
Good.
I wonder if it's possible to give out like a POAP or like like a badge or something for this, because I think it's a pretty epic event. I think making something like that. I can make it even, but distributing something like that, I think would be interesting. Commemorate this event.
Yeah, those are always probably the hardest to distribute, but I would agree this is possibly one of those kind of notable events where it's definitely worthy of a badge and some historical significance. So as we launch the full Gotchiverse here.
So
I just can't believe how close we are. It's so close. So pumped.
Yeah, I'm gonna go fetch a map to show you guys exactly, make sure we're all on the same page about what goes live on May 18 with the land release. It seemed like there's a little confusion. It's when I say full, like it's not all the unsold, undistributed, unraffled lands on the far east side, that last column, on the very bottom row, those aren't being opened up yet. So there's still a little bit of mystery left to the Citadel. But yeah, I'll go get that map. I got it here somewhere.
Yeah,
Also-
cool, man.
we had another question from Monarch asking, do we have a date for the GAX?
Okay, here's the map. And yeah, the GAX, no date yet. No date yet.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's probably going to take a while because of the regulatory issues.
Yeah, there's layers to that one. Not good layers. So we'll get there. In the meantime, though, there's some kind of we're looking into, what is it, Balancer. You can actually have, like, maybe we could start with glitter tokens being distributed through Balancer, and then of course QuickSwap LPing. Pretty soon, Pixelcraft will be able to take the crafting Alchemica that's come to us through crafting and use that to LP and start bootstrapping stuff. The map I just showed here, you can see we keep 23-24, which is all we have right now. And by May 18th, we open up all those other districts around, basically almost like a lopsided donut right around the Great Portal. So you have a land bridge on the bottom of District 13. I don't think any parcels have been distributed in 13 or 6, but they kind of help connect the two major areas.
When we go live with the land release, will Pixelcraft Square be live as well?
No, I don't think so. Well, I mean, funny thing. So 27 and 30 are listed here. Yeah, those had land distribution. What am I talking about? Yeah, those definitely will be. Anywhere, basically, from the first two distributions, everybody has to have equal access at the same time. So it was like our devs, in terms of scaling this massive world, the goal was we've got to be confident that we can make the jump from 2 districts to like 28 districts, and make sure everybody gets in at the same time to do their channeling. Imagine what if your parcels, you couldn't channel on them on May 18th, but I could. That would be pretty devastating.
Yeah. Well, I'm more facing the problem of like I have so many parcels, so I just got to pick one. It's probably going to be a District 1 Humble to focus on and start with, get a feel, and then start planning strategy for hiring third-party gotchi contractors to handle some of my business that I need them to on my parcels.
Yeah, I'm really interested in seeing how the trusted partners is really going to work, and the cut that's fair enough is at 5% or 10 or 20 or whatever, and by getting people that understand the game after a while, these people could become quite valuable, and give them more and more of a cut because they're actually dominating on the land that we've got, and there's no way we can physically look after all the land that we have. Could be, this is going to get really, really interesting.
Yeah, we just thinking about it because we were talking about it yesterday, like thinking of splits, right? If I have 22 gotchis, if I get a level 9 altar, like I save up and get one immediately for the parcel that I open, then now I can channel every hour. Do I want to do that? That's going to be a lot of work if I'm doing it on my own. So maybe I need to hire scholars for that. So if I hire scholars, what's a fair split for someone coming on and emptying a reservoir when it's going to be like a windfall of Alchemica? So trying to figure out that, and then kind of seeing what the market what direction the market seems to go, will be very important. And I guess that first few days, once it starts the land release.
I think it'll take care of itself in some sense, and that's what I was alluding to earlier. Like right now, you're doing global listings, and that's super cool. It helps bootstrap the economy and get everybody onboarded. But eventually, you might get to a point where at least some of your gotchis you're going to like set aside for a certain lodge and certain land management, and those ones maybe you give a higher share to because there's like a degree of trust with those people. You know who they are. You have a shared Discord with them, and maybe on the back end, and that's like your team. And so as we get into that kind of mode, you might have team captains who get a certain percent. You might have new ones that get a little bit less. I could see it like being totally a spectrum depending on what you're relying on them to handle in this full Web3 production. Oh, we'll see what happens. But yeah, maybe, yeah, Web's probably right. At the end of the day, it's all 80-20. Everything in nature is 80-20. So.
Yeah, that's 20% though. When you're emptying a reservoir, that's like, oh man, that's expensive. I should just do it myself. But there's only so many hours in a day that I can do this. Although, like, I am like, I don't care. Like, I'll do it all day.
So the interesting thing is currently it's 80-20 to the borrowers getting 80, right? But that's because there's only a very small amount of gaming that can be involved at the moment. But once all the lands, once everyone can go out and start doing everything on the land, and they need to, how many people that are currently lending out gotchis are going to stop lending, or say the percentage of time they're going to have a lot less lend? So therefore, I reckon it could actually flip around, and the 80-20 rule might be going the other way.
Yeah, I could see that. You know what I wonder, thinking about this now, like, I wonder, will scholars, if I lend you my gotchi, right? Could they go and channel with my gotchi while they have the rental? Because if that's the case, then now I have to also consider, like, oh crap, I have to channel before I put gotchis up to rent, because I'll miss that UBI opportunity if they can do it and it goes directly to the gotchi's pocket and they get it as part of their rental.
Good question. Good question.
Yeah, I think. Well, I think if it was that way, that other gotchis, like other scholars or renters, can rent an Aavegotchi to go channel for whatever wearable that you have equipped, it would actually make the rental market pretty interesting, because that would actually really emphasize being able to dress your gotchi for those channeling ceremonies. Like maybe someone creates a DApp, or there's a calendar where you can look and see who's doing what channeling ceremonies, and then kind of like equip your gotchis that day for that. So it would add some complexity to the renting game.
Yeah, I would suggest, Jesse, if possible. I don't know how hard this would be, but maybe if the if the renter can do a rental and channel, then maybe we need to have some kind of indication in the Gotchi lending UI to let you know if that Gotchi's been channeled for the day or not. Just because I'm sure there's going to be a type of player. Like if I was in this trying to do it, I would be trying to move around, and I would look for gotchis that are rentable that haven't been channeled yet, and just take whatever short duration rentals as I could, and try to game the system and get all those like channels. But if we don't know, then it's going to become difficult.
Yeah, and we've talked about that a little bit. I think that's a very that's going to happen, right? So we'll have to get some sort of little icon or some it's one more thing that both borrowers and lenders will have to consider, and we'll have to have a way to show that on the UI. Yeah, definitely. Because it's a different value prop, right? It's like, oh, I can borrow this one, and for the next 24 hours, I can't do any channeling with it. I'm gonna go look for one I can channel with. Definitely, that's what people will try to do. There's definitely two tiers at that point.
Yeah, and if people are borrowing it for 1 hour and get to do the channeling, there's a good chunk that they get. Maybe it is highly valuable to actually have your gotchi to be out of channel, and do we get a much higher cut on that? And it's actually advertised as can be channeled in the next hour, or something like that. Could be some very interesting
Mhm.
gamifying.
Yeah, the lending periods might change too. Like you might do that differently. So it'll be interesting how that all kind of. There's so many moving parts. It's gonna be really fun to see how it all plays out. Um, the other part that we haven't talked about much is the gameplay side. So the game is going to change quite dramatically from what we were used to in the play drop, right? And then social mode obviously kind of makes that clear. And then we move back into a little more play to earn with the land release. But it's centered around these channeling experiences and the spillover. And so, what do you guys think? Are you worried? Are you excited? Do you think the spillover effect is going to be, you know, what do you anticipate happening basically? Are you going to have a legion of fans following your gotchi as it heads over to do its channeling?
I'm very excited for it because I feel like we were thinking of the vesting contract, the play drop, the percentage of Alchemica that represent versus the channeling and how much of the Alchemica in our ecosystem is going to be coming from channeling. So I think it's going to be a lot more. And the fact that there's going to be constant spillover all over the map, like over what you said, 30 districts of map, there's going to be continuous spillover. So I think it makes it like, I think it's going to make the game more fun because people are going to be looking for, just that spillover. It's going to be all over the place versus having to wait or try to game like 30-second, 60-second Alchemica spawns. I wonder how this will. I wonder how bots will adjust to this, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. But I think it's going to be fun. I think it opens the doors to more roles for scholars. It's more now than just like running around and doing a play drop. There's going to be organization of management of estates, so that's going to be a big deal. But I love the idea of like ever continuously spawning Alchemica that's just coming from channeling because it's 24-hour ecosystem, and our world, like players in our ecosystem are 24-hour players like from all over the world, so there's always going to be Alchemica hitting the map because people are going to be out there channeling, so it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool. I think if I see you guys heading to your parcel, I recognize you. I'll be like, I think that guy's gonna channel. I'm gonna go hang out for a little bit. It's
So
gonna be fun.
when we talk about spillover, like I feel like I have a vague like understanding of this. I go and channel. There's a base amount of the channel that I can get for that, the Alchemica from the channeling, and I get a multiplier. So say if the base, like, I forget the exact numbers, but when I do my channeling, there's going to be spillover. Do we know roughly at this point with like how much spillover of that base will there be?
So let's just say a 50 kinship. So your base is 20 FUD, 10 FOMO, 5 alpha, 2 Keck. A percentage of that, I don't have it in front of me, will go directly to your wallet if you're the owner of the Gotchi. So it goes straight into your wallet, not even your loot bag, the in-game pickups balance, but straight to your wallet because it's an on-chain transaction. Then any part that, depending on your level of your altar, that determines that percentage. So if you have a level 1, you're not going to get much sent straight to your wallet. The rest, but as you increase, more and more will go straight to your wallet. So that's like your true, you don't have to sweat it. That's your real take home guarantee. Anything after that is you're kind of funding. I think of it as you're funding the neighborhood around you because then the rest of that 1025 too, it all goes as a spawn, right? It's going to spawn in game in a diameter around your altar. And that diameter for a level 1 is extremely big, right? You're literally farming you're funding a portion of your district. And then as you level up your altar, that diameter gets smaller and smaller. So it starts spawning nearer and nearer to you. So you theoretically could pick up a majority of it. And more and more of your take home will go direct to your wallet. So there's like 2 levers there that are improving. So lots of incentive to level up your altars.
That just made me think, future, you always talk about opportunity cost, and it's like, now I'm thinking, if that's the case, the first thing I want to do is maybe upgrade my altar the first couple levels that are fairly attainable, and then at least get that Alchemica a little closer to me so I can, reduce that leakage.
Yeah, I mean, because I was thinking, like, my next follow-up question would be, when the spillover happens, is there a lag? Like you like doing your rain dance essentially for the Gotchi gold UBI rain, and then it happens. You get it directly into your wallet, your pocket, and then some of it gets spilled over. My question previously was like, is there a lag between that happening so like I could run out and grab it? But if you have a level 1 altar and the spillover range is much wider, then it's like, okay, that's not even an option. So it's becoming a thing. Like, you just literally gave me instant FOMO of like, dang, I need to get a level 9 altar if I'm gonna do this like one parcel. Like, I have to start there, because if not, then like you just said, have a opportunity cost. We're gonna be, giving away Alchemica. And now I understand better why you were making the joke of like following gotchis around when they're walking over. Like, hey, is No Future going over to channel? Like, maybe I should go follow him, because there's going to be a little incentive dropped on the map for all of us. That's very cool.
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
one of the big things on this game is that the understanding of the tokenomics on how much people need to be putting in and using all the Alchemica. Right? If you look at something like Farmers World, where they upgraded, they had saws and they had chainsaws and things like that, but then they stop upgrading, and then the game is basically crashed and burned because there isn't any more another level up. You can't throw all the wood you've got or all the as far as Farmers World goes. So for us, where there are so many things where we really want that level 9, we want this. There is going to be so much. So it's not just us. We get our Alchemica and then we use it. There will be so many people buying our Alchemica. So at the moment, we've had a few people play to earn, or a few thousand people play to earn, and probably most of them have been selling, just so I can get some cash. So we've seen a little bit of a drop in the ghost price. We've seen a bit of a drop after the initial pump in the Alchemica. But I've got a feeling that there's going to be a real surge in prices once people realise that, hey, I really want X level altar, and I want this, and I want that. And yeah, I think it's really interesting how much time these guys in the back end have really been looking at, how do we make this game last 30 years? How do we make it so linked and so it's not a pump and dump. This is long term. So that gets me really excited about the value long term.
Yeah, and that's how, like, if we didn't have the spillover with a capital S, then you really wouldn't have anything reminiscent of the play drop experience where there'd be pickups, the just random Alchemica on the surface. But you definitely want to have some of that. And so it's your daily UBI in a sense, where you're going to the altar. It doesn't require capital heavy investment up front, at least relative to something like a harvester. So it makes sense that you're not capturing all of it. You're capturing a guaranteed minimum, and then the rest is you're basically kicking off a mini game in essence. You're kicking off a short competition between yourself and everybody in your neck of the woods. And yeah, no futuristic. It does kind of change perspective when you realize there's this diameter in effect. So I can see that. Yeah, you'd want to make that diameter close it in a little bit.
Yeah.
Even then, it doesn't necessarily guarantee you'll get it, right? Because even with a smaller diameter, that just makes people want to follow you even more in some weird way.
Yeah, you're incentivizing the social aspect of the game unintentionally, because now it's going to be, oh no, it's almost too social. People are following me around because they know I'm going to go get the bag. But I will say this, like I'm happy that we talked about this, because I was a little worried about the rental market taking a hit because the play drop was kind of ending. But with the spillover, it just continues it, and that spillover is going to happen pretty much for the end of till the end of the game essentially. So that once scholars know that. They're not going to be waiting for the that dopamine hit of the rejoice Alchemica has been dropped. They're just going to see it popping up all over the map. So I think that's actually going to be really good for the rental market.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what strategies emerge, like with scholars. Like you said, maybe they have like a list of gotchis that they follow because they know these people have a lot of parcels. They do this many channelings. Like the fact that all this is on chain is also going to be interesting in the way how people try to game this. from like our perspective and like a scholar's perspective.
Yeah, I just thought about this because I'm thinking of the logistics because strategy is literally changing as we're speaking right now for me. So I go out, I get a level 9 altar. I have 22 gotchis, I expanded 24. Could I theoretically, when I wake up in the morning, go and channel all 24 of them at once? Like do one, one after the other, jump into the Gotchiverse, channel them all, get all of that UBI that doesn't get spilled over, and then theoretically I could just rent out the gotchis to other players to run around, right? I would be able to do that, correct?
So you're talking about a batch alter channeling followed by batch lending. You can
Well, it doesn't
definitely,
have to be batch. If it was batch, thank you. I would appreciate that. But if I had to manually go in and just like, I would say it's batch in the sense of I am doing it all at the same time, but not necessarily at the same time. It could be like, one by one, each all 22 gotchis, but like in the same like, hour essentially. I hit the altar, that level 9 altar all at once versus what my original thought was like every hour I have to like go to the altar, channel, kind of let the altar take a break, and then in the next hour come back with another gotchi. Do you know if it'll work like that, or if I can just I only get, if I have level 9, I get 24 interactions with the altar. It doesn't matter when, but only 24-hour interactions per hour. I mean
if
per
you
day.
have a lot of land and you have an altar on each land, you might be able to do it. Because like Jared here in the chat mentions, there's a cooldown for each gotchi, but there's also a cooldown for the altar depending on the level. So it's yet another lever for the altar. So you would have to take kind of one-to-one, like this gotchi is going to manage this altar, this gotchi is going to, I'm going to go through one by one and do those. And then once I get done with that, maybe it takes me an hour to do it, then I'm going to lend them all out for the next 23 hours. Something like that in theory, I think you could pull off.
That's amazing because that means because I've said this before in like other live streams and podcasts and whatnot. I think our rental market is just starting. Like where the prices are now, like if I did the lazy thing and just listed my gotchis for 2 ghosts a day, no split, I'm making 44 ghosts a day passively. If I'm doing it more actively, where I'm doing it like by hours, that amount could go a little higher, 70, 80 ghosts per day. But that's without any Alchemica. Now, if I can get that as well as that UBI, that's just ridiculous. Like,
Hey, what's up, fam?
hey, what's up?
Good morning.
Good morning.
GM.
GM. Yeah, I was just listening in here as I'm going through a lot of the bot stuff, but yeah, really good conversation so far.
I actually had a sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I had a question about the land, how we can link these parcels together. I'm just looking at some humble parcels here, and I think there may be like 7 gotchis apart. But let's say I was to link these parcels together. Is that land connecting the 2 parcels together? Is that now part of that linked estate? Like, is that functional land? You can build on it. You can do all kinds of stuff, just as if it was like a humble parcel.
No, you won't be able to build on the land between it. It's still like separated, even if like for example, Alchemica or like a humble size. Because the building happens on chain, so that's not something you can actually build on. We might be able to have some like in-game things that you could put on that space, but you will not be able to put like installations or even tiles on that because those are all added on chain.
Okay, yeah, that's good to know because I'm thinking about how the altars would work then. I would be able to put 2 altars on that parcel, on that estate, even though it's like linked together and do one channeling over here and then walk over and do the other channeling, right?
Yeah. So each estate can have one Gotchi lodge, but each parcel needs an altar anyway. You don't have to have one, but if you wanted to have an altar on each parcel in an estate, you could do that.
Okay, yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah, that's really good because then theoretically you wall up your stuff. You kind of try to prevent people from picking up your spillover, but then you can hit up all your altars, assuming you have enough gotchis and what level they're at. I remember somebody was saying, I forgot who it was. There was a friend in the Discord that was like stressing that it might be wise at first to start with a level 3 altar, because I forget the exact reasoning, but it would work out in terms of the number of channelings you can do per day. There's like a good starting point versus the level 1. You're not losing as much to spillover. The range of the spillover isn't as much, but it's a little more accessible than the level 9 to start with.
Yeah, I mean, level 9 is like a stretch goal. We don't anticipate that everyone will be going to level 9. I mean, there will be definitely some players who do splurge for it. I think it'll be, over the long term, it'll be a pretty good investment because you're going to be locking in a lot lower spillover than a lower level. And you can, if you have like the cooldown will be so much lower as well. So if you're in a good spot with a lot of foot traffic, you could have that altar pretty much going every hour of the day. I think someone used the analogy of a water fountain.
So for level 9, have you guys decided what the cooldown period is? I don't remember if I saw that anywhere.
Yeah, I think that was in chapter 3. It's 1 hour per. Basically, you get 24 channelings per day with a level 9.
So now that was the question I asked before. If like I can do all of the channelings at once and it's just 24 interactions per day, that's going to require more strategy then.
Yeah, it's a 1 hour cooldown. You can't just batch do 24 at once, like one after another. We will have a cooldown.
All right, so I'm gonna have to think about that now, because what do I do for the 4 to 8 hours a night that I sleep?
The other cool thing, you guys, I don't know if it may have seen it in the latest chapter. If you have an estate and that estate has multiple reservoirs on it, if you don't have the estate, you won't be able to batch empty those reservoirs. You'd have to basically walk up to each altar. I think most likely we're going to be having the altar will be the place that you walk up to empty the reservoir. But even if it might be on the reservoir itself, but basically you'll walk up to it and you'll be able to empty all the reservoirs on that parcel. But if you have 10 parcels and you link them all in a state, you'll be able to basically empty all the reservoirs at once in a single transaction.
Wow.
That makes it really efficient for, if you're managing some, you have some lenders who you trust, like we were talking about earlier. You could have one guy dedicated to that whole operation if you've linked together a whole bunch of parcels.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's really cool. I think there was a lot to digest in that last chapter you guys put out. Like, I'm still going over it again, and I think it's my third or fourth time now looking through it, and I'm still finding stuff. So it's definitely packed.
Yeah, there's a ton of just like all the land rules. Yeah, someone really should like make a video just about the land and like different like edge cases. I think we've caught them all, but there may be some that we did miss. So if you're making any content about that, it'd be super fun to see.
An interesting one that you guys had figured out there is how, because I was wondering about this, is boxing parcels in. And it's really interesting how you guys have solved that problem. And aesthetically, it's going to be pretty unique to see, when you do have a boxed in like partner parcel, but it's done intentionally. Maybe the guild bought all the parcels around their spacious or their partner parcel, and they boxed it in a way where there's only one way to get in and one way to get out, kind of like a maze, right? That'd be really interesting.
Yeah. That's why I think the rule I believe is that by default it will go to the north. So basically we're trying to look at what's the shortest path to get to that parcel, and by default it's going to be the north direction. If that north direction isn't available, then I think it goes to the south. But yeah, in general, we'll trying to look for the shortest path. which is not going to be easy for our devs to set that up. That's going to be the estates are not going to be a thing that launches like in May or probably even June. They're going to take some time to get those set up. So you guys have plenty of time to get your strategies in place.
Yeah, like No Future was just saying that now is the time to start looking at parcels that are adjacent to yours and see if you can work out a deal or just grab them off the bazaar, because
Yep.
that might be a huge opportunity cost later down the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm literally on adventure.io looking at the Citadel trying to find like another inner wall like humble. There are a couple listed for like 500 ghosts, but that's it. And then just I guess another like wherever my parcels are, I'm just trying to find another parcel that's like nearby so I can because I to not have an estate seems like a silly thing.
Yeah, especially being a well-known person in the community. I think it's good for visibility to have that estate and being able to identify whose estate that is.
That is, of course, until there's like 50 gotchis hanging out the front, waiting for you to do some channeling, and they collect it all.
Yeah, I mean, my initial plan was I have a little 2 properties, like humble properties in District 2 that I was going to connect together. And one of them has a FOMO boost, so it already stands out. And then I was going to put the 2 golden tiles on it. So it really stands out. But now I'm wondering, is that a good thing? Like, will there just be 50 gotchis hanging out on the only golden humble estate in that area? I don't know.
Quick question. I'm throwing a screen capture in. The 2 parcels that I show here are in the same district. I could technically, because they don't share an edge, but they are adjacent to each other. Would I be able to do these 2 because they're diagonal as an estate?
I believe so. I'd have to go and look at the rules again. I think there's a case about as long as it looks like they kind of share an edge, right? Are we looking at the pink?
Yeah, the pink and the blue.
The Alchemica, is that Alchemica
Oh
surrounding
no,
it?
the pink is like I guess the like for the UI. That's the parcel that I clicked on. It's not necessarily Alchemica.
That looks like they're kind of sharing an edge though, so I think as long as it's diagonal with another one and there's nothing in between it, I'm pretty sure they can be connected.
Okay, yeah, because I found another 2 that are similarly priced that are directly next to each other. So that might be the play.
I put up an example of what might work there in the chat. I just pulled it from the Bible, but is that what you guys are talking about? Basically.
Yeah, I think so.
You have like
So it
that
does
one
look
edge.
like they share an edge there, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like I could buy those 2 parcels. It will run me roughly 450 ghosts, but they're in District 1. But they're like kind of that, like what Tefe just dropped in, versus another 2 that I could buy that are like right next to each other, but that'll be like 600 ghosts, maybe more. Decisions.
Yeah, the one Diddly Poo screenshotted there, I believe those can be linked. It looks like they're pretty much sharing an edge and there's nothing in between them.
Ah. Dang. So the question is like I just found 2 parcels that I can get humbles in District 9 that I could spend 200 ghosts or 220 ghosts and have like a little they'd be paired together perfectly. Or I can go like just a little over back into District 1 and then pay 400 or 500. It's I don't know what's the best decision here.
The District 1 conundrum, eh? How much is District 1 going to be worth in 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years? Really interesting.
Yeah, because I have single parcels in District 1. I just don't have anything that's grouped. And then trying to get stuff in the inner wall is going to be really pricey.
And parcels on the road. I wonder how much extra that's going to be worth in District 1.
Yeah, this is true too.
I feel like because the link parcels have some visibility associated with them, that maybe having the inner wall, I mean, for the long term might be worth it. But if you're just trying to get an estate set up, maybe like anywhere in District 1 would be all right to start out.
Yeah, I just gotta because it looks like these two are next to like some kind of cool structure where these other ones are in like the corner.
Yeah, I'm really wondering how these structures are going to play out. Like, are they going to require significant amounts of resources from the districts themselves to actually build these things?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think I'm just gonna buy them. Yeah, I'm gonna buy them. Screw it. I'm getting two in District 1 right next to each other. Let me just grab some ghosts. Should be staking this ghost, but I'm gonna buy. My future estate in the Gotchiverse is happening right now.
It's hard to stake Ghost, man. I can't hang on to it.
Yeah, I just finally got like I've been I got like 2,000, roughly 2,000 ghosts staked, and I've had more than that before, but I keep buying stuff. So I finally like 2 days ago was like, all right, I'm gonna leave this in. We got potentially a raffle coming up in a month or so, 2 months. So let's just like print some tickets, and it's like that pull, the draw to like because the thing is like with the lending, I'm pulling in passive ghosts, so it kind of makes it easy to continue to stack. But it also makes it much easier for me to justify spending the ghost in our ecosystem on other stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, Crypto Godfather made a good point too, that the value of this stuff, who knows what it's going to be 6 months from now or 5 years from now.
Yeah,
We might be looking back on this like, dang, man, I should have bought more. You know, it's like you always have that hindsight.
this is true.
And
Oh,
I think on opportunity cost at the moment, land has been unusable, quote unquote. You know what I mean? So at the moment, there's been no rarity farming, or there's been no alchemica from it, etc., etc. So anyone that's bought land has sort of gone, oh damn, I haven't got anything back yet. If I bought more gotchis, I would have got, etc., etc. But so therefore, we're probably in the lowest of the lows. Although I see spacious floors of the floor on spacious have gone up. So I think it's already on the upswing. So yeah, once people start getting yield out of this, I think the price is going to be very, very different.
Yeah, that's I've seen a lot of people mention how cyclical this economy is. There's always something that's hot, and then there's like something that's a little bit cooled down. So tickets and land tickets are probably the cool down, most cooled market right now. But and land has been pretty cool, but I think it'll definitely start moving pretty soon.
I'm just looking at the maker installation now. Reading that land management bit is really interesting. These maker bots are going to be really helpful because from what I understand, you can only upgrade one installation at a time. Is that referring to a single parcel or across all your parcels?
Per parcel.
Okay. So if you're trying to build multiple things, or let's say you're trying to build something, but you also want to upgrade something else, you probably need one of these MakerBot installations, right?
Yeah, building. So it's like crafting is the part that will take the time, because all up to now, all the installations we've crafted are instant. Like they don't take any time to craft. But there's going to be a point in the future when there's going to be some installations that take some time to craft. So crafting will have a queue that you'll basically be waiting for, and you can spend glitter to speed that up. And the ones that's going to take the most time will be upgrading. So if you go to upgrade your altar, it's going to take a certain number of blocks to finish that upgrade. And that's what the maker bots are for. They basically having that maker installation on your parcel will let you upgrade more installations at the same time.
And that's what I was talking about earlier about the huts, because that's what
Yeah,
the
yeah.
builder huts are in
Yep.
Clash of Clans.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good way to prevent the game from becoming too pay to win, because even if you have the level 9 maker, you can still only upgrade 9 things at a time. And even if you could blow a huge amount of glitter and upgrade everything really quickly, and that's fine. You're helping the economy when you do that. So it basically is very helpful. Or you can just be a little bit patient and take your time and let the upgrades finish naturally. But even if you have a level 9, you can only do 9 upgrades at a time. So a spacious owner with 30 different harvesters, it's going to take them a while to get up to full production capacity.
Coder Dan, I had a question. Me and Hefe kind of like kicked this question around yesterday, but we were wondering when, like, if I build an estate, will I be able to list it on the bazaar as an entire unit, or will I have to sell it as the parts, like separate each parcel and then installations, or can I do it as just one big thing?
Yeah, initially, I don't think estates will be like an on-chain unit, because there's a lot of rules and a lot of server-side logic. So I don't think you'll be able to sell an entire estate at the same time in the bazaar. Although in the future, we may be able to have some workarounds for that, where you put all of your parcels like into a bundle or something, but that will definitely not be live very quickly.
Okay, cool. I'm just asking because while you guys were talking, I bought 4 parcels. I am now the proud owner of 2 adjacent sets of humbles, one in District 9 and one in District 1. So I have my 2 estates that I will start with. And then I'll try to add parcels that are near. Like, I really, like, I cannot explain the level of FOMO that I just got in this conversation this morning. And I'm sober, so it makes no sense, but I just got really amped and I just, I'll keep buying more, building some estates for my guild of 1.
That's awesome, man. Awesome. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, so if you're in
Living-
District 1, stay away from my parcels because I want to keep my UBI.
So what size are your estates that you bought there?
Well, I bought 2 sets of 2 humbles. I just
Nice.
bought them. If you're looking at my stream, you can see where I bought them actually. I was kind of worried that someone was going to front run me on it, but I bought these 2 here, which are, one was listed for 333 ghosts, a humble. The other was listed for 210, but they're both in District 1 next to near my parcels in the inner wall. And then right over in District 9, like a short walk, I bought another 2 adjacent humbles, one for 108 ghosts, the other one for 120. The District 9 is closer to this would be like my floor estate, where the District 1 is more like my, I don't want to call it like high level. It's not like, if it was in District 27, then it would probably be a lot more expensive, but it's a nice estate to start with.
I remember you saying before the first land launch, you were looking for a 2-bedroom with a view. Is the 2-bedroom with a view?
I mean, this will be the two parcel with the view. I think the
Nice.
2-bedroom with the view, like, maybe my strategy just changed and I don't realize it, but I intentionally bought a, let's see if I can, there's ways to do this. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to do a filter based on parcels I own. I bought a humble, 2 humbles in District 1 recently with the intention of opening one of them for the launch of the game, where now, oh yeah, it's this one near the, right inside the second wall. The intention now might be to open those 2 estate parcels because it might be the move.
That's what I'm feeling too personally. Like I have my little estate, humble estate in District 2, and initially I thought, well, I'm not really going to do very much with my humbles because we talked about this the week earlier, and we were saying how these humble parcels are not the most ideal for building walls on or like protecting in any way. So that kind of turned me off of it for a little bit. But then when I realized I could just turn it into an estate and then build my walls, then it made a lot more sense to me. So I don't mind doing that.
Oh yeah, I just remember. I do have an inner wall District 1 humble. It's like very close. Dang man, I wish it was closer to my spacious because I can make that a estate. But that's it's not that close to the spacious. It's too unless someone wants to sell me two District 1 inner wall spacious parcels. The one I have for sale for 5 million ghosts. So I'm not willing to pay that much for two others, but I'll try to figure this out. But yeah, I'm probably gonna open this District 1 inner wall humble to start. That'll be my 2 bedroom with the view to start the Gotchiverse.
Nice. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking along the same lines, especially the aesthetically speaking, the golden tiles, especially that solid gold one that you guys are going to release in the last set. I want to try and mint as many of those as I can because I really like the look of those, and I think my estate will look dope with just like this golden floor, like this pure golden floor across both humble parcels. It's going to look pretty amazing.
Yeah, and I'll say like what I do enjoy about the golden tiles, like someone did the math here a couple days ago, and they were saying that you need 32 golden tiles to fill an entire spacious. And in Alchemica at that time, it was like roughly 750 USD to fill up an entire spacious with golden tiles. So like we did the math, it was like something like 22 or $23 USD per tile, and it's like, oh, that is so like I love like what we did with District 420's the one hit wonder. I like pricing stuff low because that makes it accessible to everybody, which will probably encourage more volume in terms of people minting, crafting these tiles and adding them to their parcels. So like I'm definitely gonna have a golden tile and probably a golden altar on that whichever parcel or estate that I start the game with, because they are like within reach at this point, which is amazing, you know.
Yeah, totally. It's gonna yeah, I'm just so excited about all this land. Like it's just so much like I can imagine how you feel because you have a very large collection of land. I have I think 15 parcels, which is still, pretty large. And like various sizes too. So I think I'm thinking about this the right way. I think we're just starting something small and getting my little homestead set up and then work out from there because I'm looking at how many harvesters you can build on these lands. On a humble, you can only build 4, but on a spacious, you can build 128. So I can imagine over time we're going to see really large farming operations happening on spacious parcels.
Yeah, I mean, I only have one spacious of all the ones I have, and I'm thinking I should have bought more, but I'm at 54 parcels now. 50, I have 45, what is this? 45 humbles, 8 reasonables because I gave one to Webb. He won the District 420 raffle, and then the one spacious. So yeah, it's gonna be. I'm just gonna keep getting land. It's just land management. It's gonna be like thinking how much work it is. Like it's a very enjoyable job, but doing gotchi lending on my own has been like it's effort. So now with this land, it's gonna be even more effort. So it's like, damn, maybe I need to hire an assistant or get like an intern or something. I wonder if I could set somebody up for college credit to help me like run my little gotchi empire.
That's classic, man. That's classic. Hefe, just going back, so with the 128 on spacious, wouldn't that drain the total amount that the spacious has until it gets the full refresh? Maybe Coda Dan, you can answer that question.
Hey, was AFK there for a sec. What was the question?
So, so a spacious can. Hefe mentioned that a spacious could have 128 harvesters maximum, right? If someone did put that many, wouldn't that drain really quickly all the available Alchemica from the spacious until it had the full refresh?
Yeah, I mean, you probably wouldn't want to do all that in the first round, but you could say you could basically use the first round as your seed capital, knowing that there's going to be 8 more rounds, and you could get as far as you want, basically not really making a big profit, but setting yourself up for having that setup. I kind of like to think of it as like a Bitcoin mining operation. It's like you kind of with Bitcoin mining, you might take the profits you make and reinvest them into getting more miners, or with Bitcoin, you have to obviously worry about the hash rate. So there's a little bit difference there. But so yeah, if you don't have to go to the max if you don't want, but knowing that uh, you can kind of make a spreadsheet and kind of understand the ROI that you're going to be having, you can very quite easily calculate it out. Obviously, you don't know what the price of Alchemica is, but if you're pricing everything in Alchemica, you can pretty easily calculate out the ROI of your various harvesters and reservoirs and the capital you've put into them.
It's
What's
almost
also
sorry, go ahead. I was just gonna
No,
make it.
I was gonna say that's we keep mentioning the term opportunity cost, but it's like
Yeah.
when you think of your harvesters or reservoirs, you technically are leaving money on the table if you don't upgrade. And like, the sooner like you get that level 9 altar, you can take the full advantage of the channeling. The sooner that you get that reservoir and the harvester at level 9, you're not leaving stuff untended. So I think it's like I mean, the strategy depends on prices of Alchemica, just like Coder Dan said. Like for me, I'd rather just buy them all now and start cranking it out, assuming that it's viable. It's not going to run me an arm and a leg to get like all that keck.
Yeah, the other fun part is that once the Gax and or glitter is online, even if we don't have a full Gax ready, we are probably going to launch the staking contract for glitter and have that live fairly soon. So you'll be able to LP with your Alchemica and start earning glitter. And you could sell that glitter, you could use it in the game, you could basically spend it to reduce the upgrade time for some of your installations. And if you do that, you're basically able to upgrade faster, which lets you harvest faster from your parcel, and which then lets you accumulate more Alchemica faster and then reinvest back into Alpine. So that's there's definitely going to be a kind of a glitter maxi that we see emerge, where they're just totally focused on getting as much glitter as possible because they want to use that to then get more Alchemica.
Yeah, that glitter is gonna be real interesting because basically what that is almost like tokenized time.
Yeah.
Like I know in many like pay to win games, like traditional mobile games, like I'm not sure about Clash of Clans, but I used to play this game called Boom Beach, and it's kind of like a battling game, but you set up like a base or whatever, and to upgrade your structures, it gets exponentially longer as you keep upgrading. So like a level 1 to 2 might only take like an hour, but a level like 10 or 15 might take like a couple days or a couple weeks even. And so when you want to get that advantage and get that structure upgraded right away, the only thing you can do is buy these like crystals that
Yeah.
are like time crystals essentially, and they speed up your upgrading. And this is what kind of reminds me of, except we're the ones producing those crystals and
Yeah.
we're able to market them and sell them to other players who might need them.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to buy them from the game maker. You can LP and you can earn them, which I think is a very disruptive idea. It's going to be really interesting to see how this handles.
Well, I'll say all of this is very disruptive. I've been talking more and more, like I've been onboarding normies into like all of this stuff at a much higher rate now because I actually have the game and the lending. Like I carry a little Surface Go, so I can do this all the time. So people see it, and they'll ask questions about what is play to earn and all this stuff. So just to be able to demonstrate to them, like, hey, you have this like you have in-game assets that you purchased that you own. They're not just owned by the game maker. You didn't just spend all this money on a skin just to own it for prestige in the game. You can actually do something with it. You can take these tokens and build installations and then sell the installations. There's stuff you can like. It allows you to monetize your effort while having fun and playing the game. So it's like it becomes much easier, I'm finding, to onboard people to this concept for them to understand it by showing them that. Like, because they can see the game now, they can see Gotchi's running around, they get the concept of getting the crypto, and then just breaking it down to like the actual rights, the ownership of the assets itself, versus it just being a Fortnite skin you paid for that you can stream with, but you can't do anything of any kind of like meaningful or useful thing outside of just playing the game.
Yeah, nice, man, nice. Was it gems that was the time thing in Clash of Clans, or was that to get the new huts? I can't remember. It's been so many years since I played it.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with Clash of Clans. I was kind of speaking to a game that kind of copied them, like it was similar in a way. And they would use these time kind of crystals in a way that kind of remind me of the glitter token.
Yeah, I believe I think they're gems. It's
Ooh,
it's pretty much the same concept, except you don't have to actually spend money to buy them. You can just earn them by LPing, which does require an upfront amount, but you can also earn that by playing the game, walking around. So that's the major difference.
And it turns into a flywheel on a flywheel on a flywheel, doesn't it? Just yeah. This shit's amazing.
Speaking of skins and wearables, a big part of this chapter 4 was wearables, and I'm just looking at some of the. I really like how you've created benefits and categories because I feel like those benefits will give the DAO an opportunity to create more utility and use cases around these wearables. As we see, arcade games launch and we see other things launch around these wearables or using them as assets in the game, we can start voting as a DAO on what other things these wearables might be able to do besides the direct gameplay in the Gotchiverse. I really liked how that was designed, and it leaves a lot of room for flexibility and openness for us to keep improving and like iterating on it.
Yeah, these are just like basically the minimum viable benefits that we can imagine at this point, so early in the game. But these could definitely be expanded, could be revised, could be added on to. This is all just very. We like to build things in a way that we keep many directions open in the future in case we or the DAO, whoever wants to follow up on them.
Ooh, Coder Dan, I have a question. I did the live reading of the Bible chapter a couple days ago, and this question popped up. I asked Nian Kong, but I don't think he knew the answer. My gotchi, I have gotchis that hold a martini, which is an alcoholic beverage, which will give the benefit of luck and HP capacity. But I also have a gotchi that holds a little pump drink. So I see that there's a alcoholic beverage and then there's a healthy beverage. There's no unhealthy beverage, which I'm assuming is what the alcoholic beverage is. So for the little pump drink, because we're assuming it's scissor and mixed with something alcoholic, is that considered an alcoholic beverage or a healthy beverage?
What is it? I have to look it up. What is it? What does it say in the category? I have to look that one up. Probably an alcoholic beverage.
Yeah,
It's definitely not healthy.
yeah, because it's purple drink. So I have like a gotchi holding one martini. So I'm like, maybe I should get rid of the Royal Scepter, throw in the little pump drink, and this gotchi's gonna be just lit, but really lucky in the Gotchiverse. He might be able to like sneak into get through walls or stuff, roll good VRF rolls or whatever.
Yeah.
Another category that I found was kind of interesting is you have let's see, you have vehicle, wings, and let's see, vehicle, wings, animal. These three were like really kind of interesting, and artifact. So like these kind of sound almost like we might not have like wearables for these yet, but is this something that might be coming in the future?
Yeah, we do. We have the wings. There's like fairy wings. There's dragon
Oh,
wings.
yeah, that's right.
I
The
figured the
artifact-
artifact is probably like the coins, like the ETH coin, the Yugachi coin, the Ghost coin. Those are probably artifacts, right?
Someone just linked the spreadsheet here, so if you can search artifact.
Let's see here.
Oh yes, I'll open that on screen.
Wearable benefits. Okay. So I was actually missing this list, but this definitely puts things into context. Oh, but it doesn't say what these, or does it? Yeah, I guess it refers to
It
each.
does have the item
material.
type, yeah. Looking
Right.
for the artifact, there should be one, unless that got somehow cut at the end.
Yeah, artifact.
Oh yeah, the Dow egg. The Dow egg is an artifact.
Oh man, I should have bought that back in the day. I saw that one time, I remember, for like 130 ghost or something. I was like, that'd be kind of cool. I wonder if it hatches into something, you know?
So is the uranium rod is also an artifact.
Yeah, the little pump drink is an alcoholic beverage.
Yeah.
And then you have comfy wear. Comfy wear is like I'm assuming comfy wear is like the poncho suit sets, right? Probably.
Yep. Comfy poncho, shaman poncho, and also the pajama shirt.
Ah.
Nice.
Yeah, I see that the Gotchi mug is considered a healthy beverage. So is that like an official take by Pixelcraft that they're pro coffee? Like, you know, the health benefits of drinking coffee, maybe like in moderation on a daily basis?
I mean, we don't know what's in there.
I
It's
guess
love.
it is just a mug. Yeah, it doesn't say it's a coffee mug.
It's a mug full of Gotchi love.
Yes, it's a little bit of that Gotchi heart in that mug right there. Also a little whiskey. We're gonna throw a little bit into make it a Irish coffee.
Whatever's
Also,
healthy for you.
the weapons are really cool. The things you picked out for the weapons. What the basketballs have done recently is crazy because we recognize that as a ranged weapon now, which makes sense. What other uses are these weapons going to have? Because I know it somewhere says there's going to be additional benefits to these weapons. So like what I'm imagining right now is I can take my my Tave hammer and like smash walls or something. Like that's what I have in my mind.
Yeah, I think that you're actually right on that. I'm pretty sure that actually is the benefit for Thave Hammer. I have to go and look at that again, but that there definitely will be additional benefits for each wearable, like more damage to liquidators, more damage to walls. It might have a faster attack speed and maybe a bigger range. Might have life steal. It might have what are the other ones? There's a whole list. I think we put those out in chapter 3. There's a good list of a lot of those different, basically the trait pool that we'll be drawing from.
Yeah, these attributes could be really interesting. Like it's like these special items you have in other games where it has a unique ability. Like for example, with the mechanical claw, imagine if it had a like a grab feature where you could like grab onto something like another gotchi or liquidator and they're kind of like held in spot. Like if they're trying to run away, they're kind of tethered to that spot for like 3 or 4 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, these are all abilities we could probably put up as proposals as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think we want to probably approach it in a kind of a comprehensive way instead of like doing one at a time. We probably want to, once we've confirmed the initial benefits, then those are more like kind of like abilities that you could use with the wearable equipped, and all of that needs animations and it needs like pizzazz. So it'd be good to think about what is possible, what would look good, but definitely like a comprehensive overview and definitely something to DAO. If anyone wants to like start, I know there's been a lot of thinking on it already in the traits balancing thread. We don't want to get too like in the weeds with a lot of it yet because we haven't even gotten the first part done yet, but definitely is something to start thinking about.
Are you guys kind of hoping that there's going to be these archetypes form that form in other games? Like you have the ranger, you have the mage, you have the knight. Are you guys hoping that as a result of the way we've structured this, that eventually people will want to have a specialized mage gotchi that maybe has an ability to cast some spells or something, as opposed to like a ranger gotchi that maybe has this special ability to shoot really far? Like are these going to be things that over time people choose to form these kind of archetypes over time?
Well, I think the wearables to a large extent will determine what class you are, and your traits will also impact that. So there'll be basically 3 layers. Your traits that your Aavegotchi has, like its base BRS and its in the stats, and then there'll be the in-game points that you can spend that will modify those traits. Each level you'll get 3 points to put towards different stuff, and then finally you'll have your wearables that will also not only change your base stats but also give you in-game benefits. So it's like a lot of it will be determined by what wearable you have equipped. Like that will kind of determine what your Gotchi plays as. It's not going to be a thing where like you necessarily like build it into a certain class and you can't ever change it again.
It'll be interesting to see what combinations of classes people come up with then. You know, if you have a mage with a higher armor versus a more something that's more like mage pure, geared to more like a pure mage. Maybe it doesn't have as good armor, but it's really good at casting spells.
Yeah, it's gonna, or just not even having like any weapons at all. Just you have two. One of my favorite archetypes in when I played Diablo 2 was the the sorceress build, and you'd have all these different what are they called? Like basically artifacts that increase your drop rate, that give you better luck. And you would just do these runs where you'd go and like fight the bosses, and you have basically no armor or no attack, and you'd have to kill the boss, but if you killed them, the drop would be like you had a much higher chance of getting like a rare item. So there might, once we have like rare, more kind of like RNG involved in how things drop, if we have dungeons in the future and things like that, it would be pretty interesting to have a Gotchi that is basically useless except for like picking stuff up. It would have like a higher drop rate of certain things.
Oh, okay. It's like a scavenger build.
Yeah.
This could be like a whole thing. Like this could be, I imagine, No Future Now I could do a segment on this eventually and have these different archetype gotchis and try them out, see how they perform with their specialty.
Yeah, that'd be dope. I'm sorry. I'm just like now I'm on the search to find 2 reasonables that are next to each other. So I'm like, I might as well buy a reasonable estate. But I see the market is, as soon as this information dropped, I'm sure people like I'm finding groupings of parcels, but they're at a premium because they're right next to each other. So it's interesting how quickly the market reacts.
I'm just laughing. You just can't help yourself by just keep buying more and more. I thought it was just me.
Yeah, it's like now I don't like for the reasonables, I don't really care where they are. Although like I'm like being in a cool district would be nice, but just any 2 that are next to each other. But I don't want to pay like something crazy for them at this point. Let's see. Can't let the FOMO get the best of you too much.
But don't forget the teleport thing. So, if we've got parcels all over the place, especially near the edges, if we've got a few District 1, and then we've got a few at all the different edges, especially near the entries, that's definitely valuable.
Yeah. That's some big alpha right there as well.
Yeah, see, once we go live, then it's going to be, once land release happens, then it really becomes like, you have to think about all these things. Like I have all these parcels, but then now maybe I should look into getting more parcels that will allow me to move all over the map with ease without having to really, or maybe setting something up for, well, actually, this is a good question. To allow someone on the parcel, we can give them permission. We don't have that at the moment. Like those allowances will be built in eventually. Will the same allowances be used for, say, teleporters? Like, say, if I have people that I have a whitelist for that I allow to use the teleportation on my various parcels, will a function like that be available?
Yeah. So the first thing we'll have will be the Gotchi owners that have a parcel, and then I think most likely we will likely also just allow Gotchis that are borrowed out by that owner as well to be able to teleport. So it'll be a nice bonus for scholars who are basically working with parcel owners. Because without it, they're gonna have to all start at District 1, and it's gonna take them a while to get all the way out to the far reaches. So we're still kind of debating whether or not we think we should have that feature on day one. Basically, like allowing scholar gotchis that are being borrowed from an owner who owns a parcel, should they be able to teleport to that parcel, or should only the owner?
Yeah, I feel like between yeah, I mean, I think one thing to consider is what kind of cut the scholars are getting and what kind of activities they're doing, because depending on what activities they're doing, it might be beneficial for them and us to allow them to teleport around. And, if they're draining reservoirs for us, it would really help if they could teleport and, go from one to the other. But I think one thing to avoid is, in terms of the play drop, I think it
Hmm.
could be bad if gotchis could teleport around, quickly collect all the alchemica in that area, and then zoom to another area, and be able to carry that that whole amount of alchemica with them to another location. Maybe if that's the case, there could be a limitation on how much you can carry while you teleport, and that would maybe limit some of that from happening.
Yeah, we are going to have it take AP when you teleport, but that probably won't have AP live. We'll see if it's possible, but most likely it won't be live by the 18th. So, the idea is that in this initial release, teleporting will essentially be free, although there probably will be some limits on how often you can teleport, maybe like every hour, things like that. But it will be free. It won't have an AP cost, but eventually it will cost AP. It'll be a pretty big thing to teleport. Like you're not going to be able to just teleport willy-nilly whenever you want. And also if you're in battle and you get hit, you won't be able to teleport.
That's some big alpha right there. The battle and not being able to run away. That's that's very interesting data point. Thanks, Dan.
Yeah. Well, we had to think a lot about that because there's so many situations. There's like if you're in battle, especially, it's very sensitive. If you're surrounded by liquidators, you shouldn't just be able to disconnect the game and turn your computer off, pull the plug, and like not have any sort of loss. So, uh, we have basically whatever you have in your pocket at that time, well, not your pocket, your loot bag, as we call it, the right side of the screen where all of your alchemica are. That's what we call the loot bag. And so whatever is in your loot bag when you die will basically get dropped around you. And if you disconnect, if you're not in danger, you haven't been hit recently, you won't lose anything. But if you've just gotten hit and you disconnect, you'll have a penalty. And teleporting
Yeah, nice. That all
will
makes sense.
teleporting will it'll have a time. It'll be a couple seconds, and you will not be invulnerable if you're teleporting. So like your gotchi will basically be beam me up, Scotty, and then if you're trying to get out of a fight with a liquidator, they might be able to kill you in that time.
That's an important feature to have for sure. I think a lot of games like World of Warcraft, or I think RuneScape definitely did that, and then doesn't give people an out to just log off when things are
Yeah.
about to get heated.
Yeah.
I have a question about some of the wearables. Actually, still, I'm looking at some wearables on that spreadsheet that Web put out. So you have the raffles, and they're all, there's uncommon, common, there's different rarities, but they all have the same benefit. They have alchemica speed and AP capacity. Is there rarity tied to like the boost these stats will give, the benefits these stats will give? Like, will a legendary raffle give me a lot more alchemica speed and AP capacity compared to a common raffle?
Yeah, definitely. The benefits will scale up with the rarity level.
Okay. That's important. And then in terms of the actual benefit, what exactly is alchemica speed?
Yeah, people keep asking it. We probably change it. It's basically just how fast your Gotchi walks on Alchemica. If you get like when you're walking on the ground Alchemica, right now you notice that you slow down, but that won't always be the case. And so if you have higher Alchemica speed, you'll move faster on that Alchemica, which could be important later if you're in battle. There's we're in the Citadel right now, and there's not that much Alchemica on the ground, like the ground Alchemica that you walk on. But once you get out into the grid, there's going to be a lot more of that. You're going to be walking on FUD or FOMO for a long time, and so it'll start mattering more if you move faster or slower on Alchemica.
That's some more alpha right there. For future builds, that might be a really good build. It's just an alchemica collector. Gotchi.
Yeah.
Ooh, while you guys were talking, I did a thing. I bought 4 reasonable parcels that are right next to each other. I put a picture in. I don't own the spacious that's in there. I'm gonna look at that if I can find it. But I bought those 4 reasonables. So I have no ghosts left, or I have like 50 ghosts left. But now that's gonna be a nice size estate right there. It's in District 21.
I see you forever spent
Congrats, Matt.
gameplay.
Yeah, it's kind of cool looking at adventure.io, the Citadel. I own 58 parcels, which is currently 0.19%, 19% of 1% of the 30,000 available parcels. So that's kind of cool. It's like I'm almost at like 0.2 of 1%. Oh, Transistor, we're neighbors. Cool. Yeah. So the spacious wouldn't meet the criteria for estate because it's not on the edge. But the 4 reasonables, I believe that one that's above the 3 that are like kind of connected should be within the 8 gotchi limit. So it should be able to drop it into a state.
Yeah, that looks pretty close. That should be. You just need that one parcel on the left there to link up with the spacious.
Oh, the other. Oh, I see what you mean. The other reasonable on the left. Yeah, I'll have to hunt down that owner.
Yeah.
Oh snap! Yeah, we are neighbors. That is kind of cool. Yeah, because I also noticed it was those parcels. I paid the cheapest one was 222 ghosts. The most expensive was 300 ghosts. But I think it was 222, 249, 295, 300. But if you look at the proximity to, I believe that's Millionaire's Road, right? Like we have that road there and all those really fancy parcels. I was surprised that those reasonables were so cheap considering how expensive it is, like really like just a few parcels away.
I think those approximate locations are really gonna, the market's gonna recognize that over time. Where right now on the map you can't really get a sense of it, but I think once people are traveling between the Citadel, they'll be like, "Dang, that's like really close to that one, Alchemica, like the Keck or whatever," and maybe they might post up and get that little parcel just so they're closer to that area with a lot of specific Alchemica.
Yeah. I'm just like I forget the math, but with 4 reasonables, that's going to be a lot of installations that I can add onto that estate. That'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, so with 4 reasonables, let's see here with the estates, because it does say how many installations you can put on it. Let's see. Okay, so oh no, that's not it. So 4 reasonables, you should be able to put 16 harvesters per reasonable, so times 4. So 16 times 4 would be 64. That's a lot. That's a lot of harvesters.
So it's like I clearly need to switch my strategy away from upfront ghost to alchemica because I'm gonna just be buying all this alchemica to build these installations. It's gonna get very very pricey very quick.
Yeah, and like you said, you're gonna do this up front to limit your opportunity cost later down the line because you're gonna have less leakage and whatnot.
Yeah. So actually, with the land release happening on May 18th, will we be able to start estates immediately, or will that be coming like a little bit further down the line, like walls? Will we be able to build walls?
That'll definitely be later. Like estates is going to be as far as dev time, it's probably the most ambitious feature in the initial Citadel release. Like there's a lot of work that'll go into that because there's so many exceptions and edge cases.
That makes sense. Cool.
That NFT display structure also looks pretty interesting. You know, I'm looking at some of my NFTs that I own and wondering what those are going to look like on that. Are there going to be different sizes of NFT display? Like it says NFT display A. Is there going to be
Yeah, I
like
think there's two sizes, A and B.
okay.
Quick reminder, we got one more week left of the Golden Altar. I'm gonna check on OpenSea and see how many of these babies have been minted.
I had to grab at least one of this one. I want to get one of each type, but I really have my eyes set on the last iteration, the solid gold.
Oh, you're talking
That's
about
the tiles. I mean the Golden Altar. There's 644 of them so far, with 397 owners.
Yeah, and there's only like 20 of them listed in the bazaar, I think.
Yeah, there's not much impetus to buy one in the bazaar yet when you could just farm the Alchemica. I think we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what happens after they stop being minted.
Yeah, Hefe and I have been discussing this, like the idea that I can see Alchemica prices kind of moving in that last few days before the end of the play drop because that's it. You're not if you don't get the Alchemica to make the golden altar at that time and actually craft it, it's over. You can only buy it on the secondary. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see some price appreciation on Alchemica and then the eventual market reaction once they are no longer craftable.
How's the liquidity on the Alchemica pools? Has anyone been? Haven't checked it in a while, but I assume there's not great liquidity yet. Like, is there even 100K worth? I'm gonna open Dex Guru here. Okay, it looks like Keck has $114,000 worth of liquidity. That's not too bad. This is like pre-incentive. There's no incentives at all for liquidity right now. So, but that's 114 is pretty solid. Looking at the golden tiles, there are 1,500 tiles minted so far. That's pretty dope.
Wow, that's quite a bit. I wonder if some play to earn like borrowers are, minting these even though they don't have a gotchi or land yet.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting query. If anyone wants to do some on-chain analysis, all you really need to do is you could go and get all the addresses of any borrower that's ever borrowed Aavegotchis. Then you could cross-reference that with all the minting that's been happening of the tiles. You could see who's been spending their Alchemica wisely and who's been market dumping it.
I got two.
Nice.
Hey, it looks like I'm not crashing anymore, so good morning, everybody.
Yeah, you sound clean today.
Yep, I don't know, I fixed it. No thanks to Discord support.
Yeah, Discord. At least it's better than Twitter. At least it's better than Twitter. Like doing a Twitter space, it's not been fun.
Yeah, Twitter Spaces, they rug you a lot.
GM, mate.
Yeah.
Oh, really quickly, I know you just launched a new show with GMI, the Midnight Cuddle Club. If I forget the exact name, but would you care talking about that a little bit more, Zombie Shepherd?
Sure. Yeah, so it's actually a show I was doing last year, and then it kind of dropped off due to some personal stuff and like changing my computer around and like, tech stuff, personal stuff. But we relaunched it last week. It was kind of a trial run. I don't think we're gonna air that episode because it still tech issues on my end, but I've got them fixed now. I'm also getting a new computer, so I'm gonna have better quality of videos going forward. But it is basically like a late night talk show where I bring on guests. Some of them are crypto NFT people. I've had 3D Slaps and Roxiano came on last week. So Gotchi people come on. And then I also pull in like, I know a lot of short filmmakers and musicians and stuff like that. So it's really about crossing crypto culture with normie culture and getting everybody like talking.
Yeah, that sounds great. What time do you plan on having the date and time for the show, the regular airing? What are those dates and times?
We're planning to do Thursday, 4 p.m. CDT, which is 9 p.m. UTC.
What is that Eastern Standard? That's 1 hour
That's
later.
5 p.m. Eastern.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Nice. Good after work entertainment if you're coming home from work on a if you're not a DGen like me that's like a crypto NFT play to earn whatever I am. You might be coming home and from work, so it'd be cool to tune in and check it out.
Yeah. And the co-host, my new co-host, so my old co-host is doing live drawing. She'll be sharing her screen. She is my animation partner. We make short films together and our audio-visual NFTs. And then the new co-host who's going to do more talking is a classically trained oil painter, and he's living in Israel doing his further education. So for him, it is midnight. For me, it's 4 p.m. So
It's
Guys, I'm
midnight.
gonna sign off here. For me, it's midnight as well. I'm gonna jump off. Have an awesome day.
yep, you too, Coder Dan.
Have a good one, Dan.
Bye.
Take it
See you,
easy.
Dan. Cheers, man.
So should we keep the party going or just cut it? It's 11 a.m. for me, so I can go get breakfast. But I'm also not hungover, so I'm kind of wide awake.
I'm feeling breakfast right now, man. I have not done that yet.
Very quickly before we sign off, did I miss anything?
No, I mean, well, I'll actually, I did do a recording of it, so I'll have that up.
Zombie Shepherd, I'm going to go to breakfast. I'll export the audio and send this to you so you can get it up for the Gotchi game to hear it on Spotify. And then I got to do all the stuff for District 420 to get the special up and then get the other thing up. But it should be a good time. Is there anything that you guys want to plug before we sign off?
So we're gonna be doing our Gotchi spaces tomorrow. I'm gonna set up a Discord for people to hop into for the second hour of our Gotchi space, and it'll also be like a little bit of a backup if we ever need that. When we get rugged. So I'll have that set up. Maybe just join the Discord and see the invite up there, and we'll get as many people as we can because that second hour of Gotchi spaces, we're actually gonna run around in the Gotchiverse now. So that's gonna be cool.
I'm going to try to keep a Gotchi available so that all of them are rented so I can run around with y'all. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything else that I have to plug. I'm gonna, I'll be doing random stuff. You all know, like I'll throw something up on Twitter or something.
Absolutely. Everybody have a great weekend. I'll see you all tomorrow at the spaces.
Yeah, take it easy, guys.
Later, friends.
Yeah, awesome chat. Awesome chat. See you, everyone.
Take it easy.